So, you already messed me up, right? Because I thought I was going to come and give a cute little speech. And then y'all got the whole choir singing. I'm trying to figure out how I can take them on the road with me. Anything I say after following them is going to be fantastic. Let's give it up for those kids. That choir was amazing. And then we have this amazing essay, and Fatima's a senior at Ames High, and the whole time I'm leaning over going, is she going to Iowa State? I hope she's going to Iowa State. I got to convince this girl to go to Iowa State this semester. So it's just such a thrill to be here, and I'm so grateful, thankful for Vanessa and the entire planning team for putting together such a wonderful program, and of course the sponsors of this event that mean the world. And so here we are in a new year, 2025. Of course, I just heard someone say, we're a quarter of the way through the new century, and I said, slow down. That's a little bit too much for me. But, time flies when you're having fun, right? I often love the start of a new year. I really do. I find myself thinking about the great potential of the year and what's ahead for the next 365 days. There's a wealth of opportunities that lie ahead, lots of potential for a fresh start. And this year, it's going to take me longer than 3 weeks before I drop off on that New Year's resolution. But I'm going to still be excited about it, right? And so it's a great feeling when the new year starts. There's a sense of hope. It's a clear mentality that everything's going to be okay. We're going to have a reset, and a feeling that I find myself holding on to as long as I can when the new year starts. But the start of this year has been kind of challenging, hasn't it? We were not even fully through the first day of the year when we heard about the horrible tragedy in New Orleans. And then just a week later, we learned about the raging fires in California. That New Year's spark kind of left us, didn't it? We were so ready to do New Year, New Me, and then here we are watching and learning about events across the country that were completely devastating. Not to mention that now here we are 20 days into the year, other things in our own lives have started to pile on, school, work, stress, responsibilities. It is not lost on me that it is going to be negative 31 degrees tomorrow, so we got to figure out how to take care of these kids, right? And so all these things that are going on have kind of taken us away from the excitement of the new year because life is now overwhelming and it's busy and there's a lot going on. And so sometimes trying to have this positive perspective, looking through life with these rose-colored glasses, and then suddenly it feels like you get hit with reality. And unfortunately, I think that when the reality hits, sometimes we have a sense of defeat or disappointment. And unfortunately, I feel like this has become more and more common these days. What inspires me, however, about Martin Luther King Jr. as we celebrate him tonight, it was that during these times of uncertainty, where things seem to be unclear, that he says we must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. I'll say that again. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. I'll admit there have been times where I have lost hope. I had succumbed to the feeling that maybe, just maybe, things weren't going to be as better as I thought. Things in my personal life, things in my professional life, or things that I cared about for others. And I have gotten disappointed when those things didn't go the way that I thought that it should or that it would. But that feeling for me, and I imagine for most of you all in this room, sometimes causes us to feel a little defeated. We lose any and all inspiration and the ability to want to move forward and the desire to make an impact. But what does Martin Luther King Jr. mean by infinite hope? How do we hold on to that? I'd like to believe that we can hold on to hope through educating ourselves and by having a pulse on what's going on in the world around us. As you can imagine, given my position at the university, I strongly believe in the power of formal education. But I also think that having a good sense of what's going on in society around us is just important. And so I'll use myself as an example. Every morning I wake up, and before my feet even hit the ground, I've looked at the Washington Post, the Des Moines Register, the Ames Tribune, Inside Higher Ed, and of course I gotta read the Iowa State Daily because I gotta figure out what these kids are up to, right? But I know that sometimes the news doesn't always initiate feelings of hope. And sometimes it's easy to disconnect from reality and say, I don't want to pay attention to the news. I'm not going to watch what's taking place. But for me, knowing what's going on locally and around the globe prepares me to go about my day thinking about the impact that whatever has happened might have on me, how I show up in spaces and places, and most importantly, how it might impact the students that I serve at Iowa State University. Martin Luther King Jr. made a point that if you want to make a difference in the world, you need to better yourself through education. If we are all committed to educating ourselves, we can collectively hang on to the hope that we will have the information, the willpower, and the skills to be prepared to address the same issues that we read about in the news when and if it potentially impacts our community right here in Ames. I also think that we can achieve Martin Luther King Jr.'s idea of infinite hope by finding common ground with those who have differing opinions from others. Now, I realize that this can be somewhat uncomfortable. To sit in a room face to face with someone with vastly different perspectives from you can be intimidating, especially in a time when it's so easy to hide behind a computer or social media. I know that many times I've had to muster the courage and the energy to have productive conversations with people who have various differing opinions than my own. Too often we find ourselves stuck and can't find the bravery within ourselves to initiate that first step. Yes, we all realize that difficult dialogues can be tough, but I can't even begin to imagine what Martin Luther King Jr. endured as he put himself in situations time and time again where people, especially those in power, had different views from his own. Yet through it all, his courage through adversity never wavered. In Martin Luther King's book, Strength to Love, he states that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. Yes, we can admit that this work can be challenging, but there is value in having genuine, thoughtful conversations with those who may disagree with you so that we can find some areas of alignment and to spark hope that can create a path forward for all of us. I believe that if more of us found the courage and the strength to step outside of our comfort zones and to find commonalities with others who have different perspectives from ourselves, then the world would indeed be a much better place. Lastly, I believe if we can hold on to infinite hope by creating spaces where everyone feels that they belong. In higher education settings, we know that a student's sense of belonging is one of the most important things that help our students succeed. At Iowa State University, we have students attending classes from all 99 Iowa counties, all 50 states in the US, and 116 countries from all around the world. These students all have unique lived experiences, differences, and perspectives when they show up on our campus. And while it's easy on a campus of 30,432 students to just go to class and then go right back home and that's it, our research continues to tell us that our students are the most successful when they have productive relationships with those around them. They find their experience on our campus more fulfilling when they can learn from others who have a diverse set of ideas to help them better understand the world around them. These interactions help them feel more connected to the university and that they belong with us because they do belong with us. It helps them develop the tools to persist and ultimately achieve their academic goals. But sometimes these interactions among students don't happen organically. We have to create spaces in which students can be their authentic selves and be vulnerable in order to learn from one another and feel as though they truly belong. And even for many of us here in the Ames community, that feeling of belonging could come from involvement in a religious organization, a service club, a school group like those who are here gathered tonight. When you belong, you're more likely to be a productive citizen that has a positive impact on your community. You have more opportunities to tap into what we like to call infinite hope. I believe we have a shared responsibility to improve our community so that no matter where we turn, everyone in our community can be their best selves. Creating these environments is how Martin Luther King Jr. spent most of his life. He wanted a world where everyone was valued, respected, and had a voice. This morning I read a powerful article that reminded me, and it said, Dr. King's profound commitment to uplifting humanity and his unwavering belief in the potential for unity among all citizens must remain a guiding light for all of us. But we have to be able to work together and to truly understand and address the needs of those who don't feel like they belong here within our own community. And so I charge us today, the community of Ames and Story County, we have to work together to get this right. As we continue our time together tonight, I want us never to lose that infinite hope that we all have within us. Regardless of what might be going on in our lives, remember it's just a finite disappointment. It's a brief moment, but our hope should never waver. Dr. King's dream of a beloved community teaches us that we must lead with empathy, that we must embrace dialogue, and that we must work tirelessly to create space for equality, belonging, and peace. So let us continue to learn about this amazing world that surrounds us. Let's connect with folks from different walks of life and different beliefs. And let's be ready and inspired to create spaces and experience throughout this amazing community that we call home, where everyone will feel welcome and, most importantly, as if they truly belong here. Thank you. Now, before I sit down, I have something to say. It's the elephant in the room. Everyone really wants to know. We are currently in the second quarter. Ohio State and Notre Dame are both tied at 7. So the way I figure is that we can still sit here in fellowship and make it home to see the second half of the game. Thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure being here.
Thank you, Dr. Young, and for those inspiring words. Let's give her another round of applause, please.